Hey, peace and blessings to you. My name is Jerry B. I am the entree musician, and so are you. And so is this wonderful gentleman we are going to present on today's podcast. As you know, we started a spin-off show called Artist Impact for Armstrong Cable here in the Northeast Ohio region. I'm going to make sure that you have the links in the description box so that you can pay attention as well. Well, one of the wonderful artists that we were able to feature on that platform is none other than Ben Marthey from Medina. He and his partner Jesse Hernandez have an incredible duo called Van Arlo, and we are so happy to have them on the Entree Musician tonight. I should say at least half of them, because here's Ben. What's going on, sir?
Hey Jerry, thanks for having me. I'm truly very appreciative for this opportunity to be on your show. Thank you.
Well, I'm grateful for the time that you've allowed us, man. We really were very, very impressed with your music. I think, the podcast audience here may not understand if they didn't watch the episode, but there were a lot of great things that the panelists said about your sound.
Yeah, I really took some of it home too. I think that they did make an impact on me, just like the show's goal was. Because one of the guys had said about something, maybe playing the song that I submitted, "Play to Win," maybe doing it in a different key, because he felt like I was straining a little bit.
Right.
I think part of that was doing it at the end of the night. We were doing a 3-hour set that night,
Oh,
and that was the last song that we played. But
yeah.
I think there was some truth in what he said, and so I've been playing it in a lower key, and I've been getting really good response from people. At the different places I've been playing, and actually feels better singing that way. So
That's very cool.
made an impact.
Yeah, that's very cool. I'm glad that you took it to heart and applied it, and now your engagement is stronger because of it. That's wonderful.
Absolutely,
I'll make sure that I tell him. I believe that was H. Wade Johnson, if my memory
that
serves me
was yeah.
correctly. That's very cool. Well, I have so many questions about Van Arlo, and you and I geographically are only about an hour and a half away from each other. I'm in Youngstown and you are in Medina. Did you grow up in
Yep.
Ohio, or did you settle here from somewhere else?
I've been an Ohio person, born and raised. I grew up a little bit further south than where I'm at now, around the Worcester area, kind of out in the hills over there. And then I came up to Cleveland for college, and then I kind of just migrated a little bit further south after that, after meeting my wife, and kind of settled down here in Medina.
Excellent. So Medina's a little more quieter than urban Cleveland, a little bit, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I spent a lot of time living in Lakewood. I
Yeah.
love Lakewood. A lot different now from when I lived there, but the vibe's still the same. It's kind of like a 20 something vibe there, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the time of my life when I met my wife. So I attribute living in Lakewood for a lot of that good things.
That's excellent. Well, tell me, how did you get started in music?
Ah, man, I've been involved in music for a very long time. My first experience was probably somewhere around middle school. And
Okay.
I grew up, I think my very first band that I ever tried to be in was a punk band. Started with that. We were inspired heavily by like Green Day and
Yeah.
like hardcore, No FX, like those kind of bands. And then I lived in a very rural area. So it was kind of not a good, area to, not a lot of people listen to punk music where we
Uh-huh.
were, trying to play. So
Right.
I think it was in high school I kind of got into a more serious country band, and we
Hmm.
started playing country. I played bass and sang harmony in a country band for a couple years until I went up to college up here in Middleburg Heights, a school called Baldwin Wallace,
Yeah.
and I went there, and that's where my taste in music kind of blossomed a little further. I played football there for a couple years, and then I when I decided, it was kind of like a a turning point in my life. I'd always been involved in sports and music. And when I came to Baldwin Wallace, I kind of made the choice to choose sports over music because I had to
Yeah.
quit the country band that I was in at the time. And um, I chose to play football. And then after that lasted for a couple years, I got back into music a lot more serious, and kind of developed playing acoustic and writing my own songs more, and kind of fell into that, which has continued throughout my adult life.
Wow. Well, how did you meet Jesse then, and what happened with the emergence of Van Arlo?
Well, Van Arlo is only a couple years old, believe it or not, but
Is
Jesse
that
and I
right?
met in college.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Jesse and I met in Baldwin Wallace. He was a member of or a student of the conservatory there, and he played in their orchestra. And he's classically trained musician. I wish he was here tonight to brag about himself, but I'll do it for him. Um, he's amazing. And so it was kind of an odd pairing where I was a member of the football team and he was a member of of an orchestra, and we kind of lived in the same building. And there's one day that we kind of always talk about where we really, I guess, actually met each other. Is there was a bench outside. A lot of people would go out there and smoke or whatever, because we couldn't do it in the dorm rooms, obviously. Um, Neither him or I smoked, but we both play guitar. So we would there would always be a certain bench that I would go and play guitar on. One day I was going out, bebopping along, going to play my guitar in an afternoon, sunny afternoon, whatever. And I opened the door and I turned the corner and there's somebody else sitting on my bench, and it was Jesse. And I sat down on the bench across, and we got to talking, and we developed a friendship, and that was like kind of our first meeting. And we've been friends for a long time. Um, he was the best man in my wedding, one of the best men in my wedding, and he went to a grad school. We kind of drifted apart, but we were both very serious in music, just in different routes. I ended up in a hard rock band. I spent 10 years playing in, called Rosella. We were an original hard rock band, and we played out. We toured a little bit, and he was also in several bands. Even he went to Carnegie Mellon, so he was in bands around that area, and then he came back to Cleveland, and he was in a couple locally known bands, Vitium, and one that's still around, Top Hat Black.
Hmm.
And so both of us kind of reached a point where those bands kind of, I won't say like stopped making music, but they kind of just separated a little bit, I
Yeah.
guess, for lack of a better term. And both of him and I are both still really passionate about making music and writing music and recording. So we've always had our friendship, but this that sort of instance kind of brought us back together to making music together. Actually, off and on, we've always kind of wrote and recorded together, but this is like our first project that has a name.
Wow. Wow. So, who is the chief songwriter? Do you both collaborate 50-50, or do you bring lyrics, he brings music, or vice versa?
Well, for the stuff that we've kind of been writing recently, it's kind of been more from me. I kind of develop it on my acoustic, and I write the lyrics and the melody. And then when it comes to recording, Jesse's got a really good like producer mindset, and he's able to program like some different instruments and help kind of make it into a full production.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how our relationship has been thus far.
Yeah.
We do get together, and we when we get together, sometimes a song will come out that we both kind of have input on. But for the time being, anyways, it's mostly come from me, and then he helps kind of with the production and making it fuller and more polished, I guess
Just
you'd say.
orchestrated, I guess. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
what would you call, or how would you describe the Van Arlo sound? And would Jesse agree with your definition?
Well, that's a great question. I definitely have my own sort of um, thoughts in my head on what I want things to sound like. And sometimes his sort of background in music and being classically trained and also having a very different style. He's very blues and funk sort of oriented, and I'm straight up like country and rock sort of meld. So our styles sometimes push and pull a little bit. I am more. I like to describe our sound like there's a band called City and Color. It's more singer songwriter based, acoustic, but also has like some elements of rock and indie sound. Um, where I think Jesse's more his influences are more blues driven and sort of funkiness driven.
And so you guys haven't come up with your own genre that you're going to market, or
I don't know about our own genre. I kind of think that everything's been done in
right?
some respects, but but we definitely do things our own way, and I think we're always working on ways to gel our different influences. And
Mm-hmm.
I think any sort of band is always doing that, and if they stop doing that, that's when they kind of
Yeah.
stop being creative.
No, I
So
agree.
we're always working on that.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Now, how do the two of you handle the business end of music? Is it just one of you acting as the promoter, the manager, taking care of the booking, or do you kind of collaborate with shows and
Well,
other productions?
I think for the most part, I'm really good about the booking side of things, and just more. He's better with like handling, like writing up a contract if it's needed for any particular gig that we're doing. He developed our website and some of the more that stuff. I'm more like the promoter and booker, and
Mm-hmm.
he's more of the administrative sort of person that like he knows how to word things in a contract. He knows how to like do that side of things that really helps us have a pro,
Mm-hmm.
put ourselves out professionally.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are many bands and duos who have set different goals for themselves. With respect to Van Arlo, I surmise it to be a project that is going to move you guys into sort of center stage of what's going on, or do you? Feel that this is something that is less of a side project. You're writing for it, you're producing records for it, but do you plan on leaving your day job to say this is the number one and that's it? We're not looking back.
You know, that's a difficult question. I spent a lot of years trying to do just that. I spent a lot of time. Like I had mentioned my previous band, Rosella, when that was the goal with our project, and we accomplished a lot as a band, and
Mm-hmm.
our goal was to do it full time and to have the obligatory record deal and push to do that whole thing. Um, I think it's different now because Jesse and I both have jobs and sort of careers outside of the music side of things. Um, I will never say never, but I think in today's sort of climate in the music business, I feel like anything's possible, and I
Yeah.
feel like it is better pursued on my own terms. And I
Mm-hmm.
think if there's anything that's come out of things going more digital and more like artist driven,
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is you're able to kind of pursue both things where I can still play shows, I can still record on my own, I can still promote things on my own, and I can still um, have sort of some stability with other aspects of my life with my career that I built. I'm a nurse, and
Mm-hmm.
I do that as my source of income,
Yeah.
but music is always going to be part of my life, and it's although I do have a career, the music is still something I'm passionate. I think that to try to bring my point home, I guess, is like the way that the digital world is nowadays. I feel like you can do both.
Mm-hmm.
And if a bigger opportunity were to come my way someday, I'd have to, I'd have to consider it, because I have, I have a wife and kids, and I can still play locally, and I can still make music on my own terms. I don't know that I need anything more, really.
That's good. What a great answer. What a great place to be, where you are satisfied and your soul is at rest with the decisions that you've made, and there's not this struggle. Sometimes musicians find themselves in a constant state of tension because they want that music portion so bad, but they are quote unquote stuck to their day job. You know what I'm saying? So,
No, and I get that. I think it's a matter of perspective, really. I mean,
mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I really love to create music and write songs and write words and put it out and release it. Um, I'm doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is where people go wrong sometimes, is when you're doing it to, be the famous person or to be a pop star. That's not really, I think I went through a period of my life when I was trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And not that I didn't succeed, because I've done so much with music, and it's taken me so many cool places, and opened up so many doors for me.
Mm-hmm.
But my perspective is now that, I'm still doing all those things. And just because I'm not like, um, on MTV or going on some big world tour, doesn't mean I'm not successful. I mean,
That's
it's
good.
just, there there's so many, and you can attest, like, and agree that there's so many more people that don't make it to that point than there are that do. And the fact of the matter, if you're doing it for that reason alone, I feel like, you're not in it. Your soul's not in it anyways. It's you're like I said, I like to make music, and I like to record and write and play songs, and I'm doing all that now. Just because I'm
Yeah.
not on Fox News all the time, doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it's not of value, I guess.
No, that's a really cool answer, and I would guess the suffix to that is, if you're on Fox News as a rock star, then something's wrong with the world anyway. So there you have it.
Right. I think there's better stuff to report about, right?
Right. But no, that's a great answer. It really is, and I think that. As you said, not only in this economy, but in this present state where technology really does afford us opportunities that we didn't have before to make sure that our music is heard. I mean, when you release a song, it's going on the same platforms that Jay-Z or anybody else. It's the same platform. So what you can do and how you present yourself, makes the difference, because once you have your core fans who love Van Arlo, then, geez, it's the best life you can possibly have. You know,
I
who
mean, for
needs?
sure. And I think some people could argue that, well, just because anybody in their basement can put a song and be on the same
Sure.
platform as Jay-Z, that the market is just completely oversaturated or whatever. But I
Yeah.
feel like it's still at the core, it's still the same as it was. You
Yeah.
still have to make good quality music, and you
That's
still
right.
have to develop a fan base. You still have
That's
to
right.
do all those things. That's never changed. So
Right.
as long as you're doing that and you're satisfied with whatever sort of level that is for you,
Yeah.
then go on, man. Make it. Do it.
That's
Love
right.
it.
That's right. And I do. Well, this is personal. It's your interview, but it's my my personal opinion that once you've established, followers and fans who are yours, they belong to you. That's the greatest feeling in the world. You don't know 80 million people. They could be passive listeners, but if they're coming to every Van Arlo show, if they're buying all your product or streaming all your product, and then buying your merch to boot, and they are yours, they belong to you. That's the greatest world you can live in.
I mean, there's nothing better. And even if it's 10 people or 10 million people, I feel like
Right.
it's each person is still as valued, because it's something that I created, and like someone feels strongly enough about it to want to buy it, that just is amazing to me.
That's
So
exactly right.
I don't care what level it is. It's still amazing.
You're absolutely right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your songs. What approach, as you pick up pen to paper, are you writing from personal experiences? Are you writing from things that you hear said in the hospital or among patients? Or how true to life are these lyrics that you bring about? Because I think your melodies are so great in the way that you approach the presentation of your songs. I delight in that. So I wonder where they come from. Where's the root?
I think it's all of that. So I feel like to be really connected to a song, you have to have some sort of life experience with it. I think that has to be, for me, that's the way it is. I've never been someone that um, can just create something, create a song that is completely false.
Mm-hmm.
All, I think people that can do that, on a whim are extremely talented. I think, it may, and I'm not saying at the same time, I'm not saying that I write something that is 100% true to life. It's kind of like an amalgamation of this experience over here. This person said this that really struck me, and however, all these experiences sort of have a commonality to them. I try to find that, and I put all that into a song.
Mm-hmm.
Every single word I write might not be like true to life, but it has some aspect that relates to some sort of experience I've had in some way. Um, I think that's kind of, for me, that's how it is, and it's usually, some people, I've been asked before, what comes first, the lyrics or the music. I think for me, the majority of the time, the music comes first,
Mm-hmm.
and then however the song sort of makes me feel, or however I'm feeling that day, and how the chords sound to me that day, that kind of evokes the rest.
That's very good. Very, very good. Well, I always ask this question in interviews, and you've done enough of these where you know that sometimes interviewers give you a list of questions and they say, well, we're going to ask this or we're going to talk about this. But did you presuppose that I was going to ask you a question about your career? And I haven't asked that. And you're going, dog, Jerry, you're dropping the ball. Can you answer the unasked question?
Sure, I'll do my best anyways. Yeah, I mean, I've been asked. I have done some interviews in the past, and I think the ones that are off the script more are always the best ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. But was there something that you felt I should ask you and I haven't asked you, and you want to answer that?
Uh, no, I guess I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Well, I'm grateful that you gave us your time. I really am. I'm excited about what's going to happen with Van Arlo, and I don't make it to Medina much. I know that you play in Cleveland often, and you invited me to a gig that I just couldn't make. But don't stop with the invitations. I definitely love your sound. I really do, and it would be my honor to bring my wife up and hang out with you guys in person. I mean that.
Oh wow, Jerry, that's really nice of you. I appreciate that. I'll for sure reach out. We're playing at the House of Blues again in December, so
Oh yeah.
I'll send a message and let you know what the dates, the details, and all that.
Well, I would absolutely appreciate that. And people can get in touch with you through your website. Is that right?
That's right. We have a little thing at the bottom where you can put in your email and write to us, and then we can add you to our list, so we can reach out with our upcoming shows and things that we got going on. We're recording. Jesse and I are working on a new song. I was actually just downstairs today working on the vocals for it a little bit.
Mm.
So you can look for that in the coming weeks. We should have another song out there in the mix. So.
Well, that's real cool. So you're open for private engagements. You're open to play different venues of any size, coffee houses. So if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast, and I'm going to have some links to Van Arlo music in the description box, and you want to book them, they can just come right to the website and make it happen. It's done, right?
Absolutely. If you write to us through our website, it'll be most likely me responding back to you, and absolutely we're open to all those things. Thank you, Jerry, for mentioning that.
Oh, it's my honor. Absolutely. Well, I thank you, Ben, for the spirit that you carry, man, your approach to music. I've yet to meet Jesse. This is twice now that that you've kind of hogged the camera and not let him be on there, but we'll get an opportunity. We'll have an opportunity to interview Jesse, I'm sure, in the near future.
For sure, we will.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, blessings to you. That is Ben, Marthy. Wonderful band, wonderful duo. I mean, it's just soothing music, probing music, I might add. So again, I'm going to give you every opportunity to listen to them. When you go to the description box, you can just click on vanarlo.com, and their music will pop right up. Great website, great guy. So, that's what the Entre Musician is all about. And I want you to know that you can go to theentremusician.com, get more information about what we do as we build our community. We definitely want you to be a part of it, because as I always say, my name is Jerry B. I am the Entre Musician, but that's not what's important. What's important is so are you. And we'll see you next time, okay? God bless.